Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Knock.
Knock, knock, knock.
Right, Knock. What do you think? Or
Second
what
level
do
transmutation spell. Let's just read it.
you?
Cast time of action, range of 60 feet, concentration up to an hour. Choose an object that you can see within range. That object can be a door, a box, a chest, a set of manacles, a padlock, or another object that contains a mundane or magical means that prevents access. So it's a lock. You pick a lock of some nature. A target that is held shut by a mundane lock or that is stuck or barred becomes unblocked. That's two other words. Like the barred bit does have a little bit more upside than I give it credit, but we'll keep going. If the object has multiple locks, one of them is unlocked. If you choose a target that is held shut with an arcane lock, it is suppressed for 10 minutes, during which time the target can be open or shut normally. When you cast the spell, a loud knock audible from 300 feet away emanates from the target.
I
Big
don't
old
understand. Go ahead.
No, it's a big old
Big.
release.
Yeah.
Big old
I
open.
don't. I don't understand why this is concentration or how it lasts an hour. It only works once, right?
Correct. And it's because it is incorrect on the Caverns Creatures website, where it's noting duration concentration up to an hour whenever back. It is just instantaneous.
Okay.
According to D&D
Uh,
Beyond. Small error, but it's fine. We're all learning.
right.
So yeah,
By the time you see this, that will have been corrected, and none of this will make sense.
exactly. And you'll all be like, what are they
Right.
talking about? I'm reading the Caverns Creatures website right now because I check it every single day. It's my favorite set on the planet, and we'll understand wholeheartedly, not shake our heads in agreement with you that yes, it is perfectly fine and works as intended. I wrote about this at length. I think that the time for knock has passed. I don't think we need the spell anymore. I don't think the spell is net positive for the game, and I think more characters will get to shine and do more things without the existence of knock. I don't think it is that useful of a tool anymore. I don't think it's a tool that you're going to want to prepare regularly enough anyway to justify taking it. This is a bit of a it feels like a something you would take whenever you didn't have a thief back in AD&D and would help solve the magic lock problems that they couldn't break, and that just isn't modern D&D. I don't think. I think we've moved past the locks are interesting puzzles category of gameplay.
Say that, but when was this applicable then or relevant? I mean, there have always been thieves. There have always, to get through a door, there have always been like big burly fighters and barbarians to break it down.
So
Um,
I don't think there's ever been a time in history where it has been an interesting puzzle. That doesn't mean it hasn't been presented as an interesting puzzle and given people have wanted tools to play around with it, right? This is kind of like where I get annoyed with things like detect poison and disease and cure poison and disease or whatever it is, because they're just two effects that go together, and you got one solves the other's problem and stuff like that. This kind of has like it's lined up with arcane lock to say arcane locks are beaten by knocks exist to make arcane locks obsolete, so arcane lock doesn't really get to do anything interesting because knock just beats it, right? And it's kind of like this silver bullet to this other spell that exists, which is kind of how it, to me, as a person that's never played second edition or AD&D, that's what it looks like. A lot of the old edition stuff is like this specific problem is solved by this specific spell, and you need to have taken this specific spell on your wizard to solve this specific problem. For the 3 different dungeons that I got out of D&D magazine that have these secret chambers that are locked by an arcane lock, right? It's kind of like a secret side room that you would get in an RPG nowadays, where if you were playing like this specific character, you can access it. Kind of like in Donkey Kong 64, where you have like, you can only get the bananas as this specific person. This is kind of a, you can only get to the space secret door if you have knock. And then knock kind of opened up to open any door, and now it's like well, if it opens any door, what's the point of a locksmith? And then you kind of go, well, or not a lock pick. It's convoluted and messy.
well,
I don't like it.
a lock pick is stealthy. Knock is not stealthy because it makes a giant noise.
Yes, it also can't fail. So, and it also, in the circumstances where you're breaking and entering, maybe you care about being stealthy or not. A lot of times in dungeons, you just want to get through the door if it's barred, and this is a way to do that, I guess. I don't know. Do you think this is meaningfully enough of a downside that you like? Here's a better question: are you putting this on your character sheet to solve any problems?
No, but I like that I like that last line of text because it makes it a little bit interesting. If you use
Okay.
knock, it's like, oh, you just set the egg timer, people are coming, and now you've got a different kind of adventure or a little mini game. You got to get whatever is behind that door. You got to get it and get out before all the guards get there. Or if you're breaking some on our prison, yeah, well, you can either try manually, you can try this or that, or you can fall back on knock, and you've just alerted everyone that there's a breakout happening.
True.
That's
I
worse, but more fun, potentially.
Yeah. I don't know about more fun. I like whenever characters get to do the thing that they've been told they're supposed to be good at. I like whenever rogues get to use thieves tools. I like whenever lockpicking gets to occur. I tend to run a little bit, like just a little bit more dynamic lockpicking, where the results of the thieves tools check more is an indicator of how long it's going to take them to break mundane locks, not necessarily if they can break the lock or not. It ends up, I think, giving a little bit more tension to a lot of environments. I think it's a pretty good way to handle it. I think that expanding lockpicking in that direction is a really fun way to go. I don't like that Noct just goes, well, we can just blow right past this anyway if we're like going into a dungeon or breaking into a crypt or whatever. I don't like that there are situations where this does just kind of solve that problem, and that's the problem is solved so easily in a mundane way that you probably don't want this on your sheet anyway. Like, it would make, if you end up preparing this, it goes, great, I take an interesting element of the game and I just bypass it sometimes. And there are some other instances where, like you just said, the loud noise makes some interesting scenarios. I like it being only verbal components means you could knock your way out of manacles and stuff. That's kind of cute. I still think I would much rather this spell. I don't think it needs to exist anymore. I don't think it is something that most people are putting on their sheets anymore anyway. And it's probably the game's probably better for it. It either needs revised in some way to make it, I don't know, different. Maybe it just needs to be cheaper. Maybe it needs to have a bigger downside. I don't know how we fix knock. I just know that I'm not putting it on character sheets. I'm not seeing people put it on character sheets. The few times I've seen it cast, I was the rogue the party went like, oh, okay. And then we moved right past it and like nothing happened and they didn't get to do the thing that's on their sheet they have expertise in. And that was a bummer to me. So
Yeah,
eh,
it doesn't bother me nearly as much as it does you.
yeah.
I don't really care about all that. Rogues can do other things, and yeah, if you want to step on the rogue's toes, it's going to cost you a second level slot, which is not nothing.
Oh no, one of your core class features, I have to spend one of my several second level spells to remove your access to a whole feature. That's a bummer to me. That's why my complaint about invisibility is kind of the same deal, right? Where it's characters that are specializing in a skill, that are trying to get a lot of boons and become really good at doing something like stealth, can't compete with the existence of invisibility. And knock is it's a much lower degree than invisibility is, because knock is obviously way worse and still has
And
a little more
but
counterplay
it's
than invisibility
still
does.
the same level though.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like, this is nowhere close to as good as invisibility, and it's not any, like, everyone knows that. Which, I'm a big proponent of increasing invisibility's level, but I'm sure I'm gonna get crap about that in every comment I ever make about it. But about Nox specifically, I think the game has moved past Nox. We don't need it anymore. It doesn't do anything that justifies putting it on your sheet. Whenever it is on your sheet, it's kind of like a meh, okay, sure kind of feature. It doesn't do any magical teleportation stuff. It doesn't bypass doors in interesting ways that you definitely would have access to. I don't think you need this, and I don't think the game is. I don't think the game is better when you prepare.
One more thing. I get that it works on things that are locked, but then stuck or barred, like if you're like Winnie the Pooh stuck in a tree or something, you could like
Sure,
get them out, or if you're behind bars, you just suddenly appear on the other side. What does that look like? Or did the bars bend?
it has to be held shut by a mundane lock or stuck, so that it still has to target an object that is a door, a box, a chest, a set of manacles, a padlock, or other object contains a mundane or magical means of preventing access. So it targets an entry point, basically, to something. So I would say this removes some level of clutter from like a caved in doorway, maybe because the doorway is obstructed, and that's kind of what or like if it's like a broken door, this breaks the door out so that you can pass through it. Maybe your devil mileage is gonna vary there. I don't know exactly how I'd rule it as a DM. It'd probably be a circumstance kind of shifting thing. It definitely does get a lot more interesting if it can start unobstructing pathways. Still not interesting enough that I think you should ever put on your character sheet.
All right, just trying to stretch out this talk a little bit. I think we're
Sure.
done though.
Okay.
You got a rating for knock?
I don't know. It probably should be a 2. I'm going to give it a 1, though. I really don't think it's worth ever putting on your sheet. I don't think it does anything that exciting that justifies a second level spell slot. And I think it's stepping on the toes of a character that can do it for free over and over and over again isn't worth it. I think that the spell doesn't need to exist, and you can move on comfortably on your wizards and sorcerers in the modern day and never worry that you would have needed knock to progress.
Man, one's rough. I don't think it deserves a 1. I'm hovering between 2 and 3. I think there
Why are you
are.
putting this on your sheet?
Probably not, but I'm saying
Then
that
what
there
does it
are
deserve?
uses for it. Said the manacles, there's things you can do. There's
You
arcane
can
lock.
Misty Step.
Right.
You can turn invisible, and you're putting knock on your sheet.
I'm not, but I'm not giving it a 1.
I can respect not giving it a 1.
Man,
I don't think this is anywhere close to a 3.
yeah, you're bullying me out of a 3.
Good.
But I will. All right, I will concede. 2 it is. All right, well, that was knock. Let us know. I hope you got some opinions out there, commenters. Let us know what you think of knock. Let us know what you think of our thoughts on knock, and subscribe to the channel and all that. And goodbye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.